the Muslims that come here, they're trying to convert people rather than making sure that the students they already have in the religion are meeting the certain standard.
Yeah, so there's an issue with this. Again, it goes back to the nature of the human being, the fact that we are fallible, we can make errors, etc. The point here I'm making is that this is a what you're describing is that this is why I asked you what tyranny was. This is a tyrannical system. Just look at when the Muslims went into Jerusalem and the Umar ibn al-Khattab, and when the Christians went into Jerusalem, what was the difference in terms of? Do you know anything about the history of that?
You guys didn't kill women and children, and they did.
They killed everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. Including women and children.
Everyone.
Yeah.
And for Muslims, this wasn't the case.
For you guys, it's okay to kill someone who's a kafir.
No, it's not.
It's not okay for you to kill a kafir?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
We could use the highway code example if you like. So the highway code is given, and then there's two groups of people. There's the people who believe in the highway code and the people who don't believe in the highway code. The people who believe in the highway code call themselves
highway codians.
Submitters.
Yeah.
No, submitters, because
right.
that's the key part, because Muslim means one who has submitted.
Yeah.
They call themselves submitters to the highway code.
Yeah.
And then when they go and do the opposite to the highway code, I have to say that's hypocritical, because they're not
I
doing...
agree with you, it's hypocritical.
And then I have to look at the fact that if they are saying that the highway code is perfect, and then they are going against it, it can't be that perfect, because they've said they're submitted against it, and then they've chosen to do the opposite of it.
So this is where it doesn't follow. This is where it doesn't follow. If the one who's not following the highway code, even though they said they're going to adhere to the highway code and they're going to follow the highway code, and they don't follow the highway code, you can't blame the highway code, and that's what you're doing.
No, I can, because they're saying the highway code is perfect.
1 second, let me just.
So it's not perfect because they're not following it.
This is illogical. Doesn't follow. It doesn't follow. This is an illogical statement. It's a non sequitur. You're saying that because people don't follow the teachings of a book, they don't follow it. They say they do, but they don't follow it. Therefore, this makes the book false.
Yeah.
This is not logical.
No, because if it's a perfect book,
let me just finish my sentence. So all it explains is that in that instant, they're not following the teachings they should be following.
The what?
In that instant, when they're not following the highway code or the book that they claim, all it says is that in that instant, they're not following the book. Nothing to do with the veracity of the book, the truthlessness of the book, nothing to do with that.
No, it does, because if the truth was there, if it was so those people who call themselves submitters to the highway code, they can't then go and turn other people who don't believe in the highway code into one of them, because they don't obviously follow it themselves perfectly. They can't claim that it's the perfect book if it's the perfect truth, and that everyone else should be submitters to the highway code if they themselves are not following it perfectly. So then I understand what you're saying. There.
So what you're saying is that unless you are perfectly adhering to the highway code, you can't teach anyone else the highway code.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
Not even teach. Yeah. It's the fact that you're trying to make them one of you.
You should follow the highway code. If someone is not perfectly following the highway code, they should not teach anyone that they should follow the highway code at all.
Hypocrites.
I don't agree with that.
Hypocrites. How can you say you need to submit to the highway code, and when I'm driving, I don't follow it 100%. I do what I want. I'm not submitting to the highway code. I'm submitting to myself at that point.
So now there's a difference now. This is interesting. I like this conversation. So there's an interesting thing here. So do you know what tyranny is?
Yeah.
What's tyranny? Just a general.
Someone in charge who's doing what they want.
Yeah,
and not for the people.
Yeah. So for example, in the Quran, because we have I would say Islam is a wonderful religion, my perspective. It's a wonderful deen. Yeah? So does it require from us, is the human being required to be perfect in every way, sinless, not doing anything wrong? The reality is that this is not our nature. We are a creature that is can make errors and make mistakes, no problem.
No, but there's a difference between willful mistakes
I understand.
and unwillful mistakes.
Sure, I understand. Let me just make a point. So the Prophet said that every son of Adam is a sinner. Every son of Adam is a sinner. The best of those who sin are those who repent. Okay.
I'm confused. Does that mean Jesus was a sinner?
You're taking the conversation in another direction. We're talking
because you just said every son of Adam is a sinner. So I just have to clarify. Does that include Jesus?
I understand. So rather than talking about specific personalities, you're not hearing the point that I'm making.
You're just saying that not everyone's perfect. I get that. I get that. That's easy enough.
No,
but that doesn't mean.
I'm not saying that.
Oh,
I'm
what are you
not
saying?
Not everyone's perfect. I'm saying that.
No, I know you said you're saying everyone's perfect. I'm saying everyone sins.
Yeah, everyone sins.
No one's perfect.
No one's perfect.
Yeah, that's I get that.
So what's required from ourselves? So do you know our story of the Adam and Eve? Do you know the Muslim story?
Yeah.
What is the story about? Just what happens in the Garden of Eden, for example?
Well, Eve's not there. Eve doesn't play a part till much later on. Adam is there, and God asks all his angels to bow to Adam, and one of them doesn't, which is Iblis, aka the devil. And when he doesn't, God then punishes him, and then after that, it gets muddy because I don't understand how he ends up in.
You've got the story wrong.
Oh, okay, please tell me the correct story. I'm just going by what a Muslim told me.
Yeah, so this is what you need to stop doing. You need to actually go to the sources directly. That's what I'd recommend.
No. If the book is so perfect and you guys put it on such a high regard, then the people I'm speaking to, who call themselves Muslims, self-profess to be Muslims, they should have that high standard themselves and understand that when they are speaking about it, they need to make sure it's 100%.
We're going in a bit of a circle.
Because it's back to my main point, which is fake Muslims.
So this is the whole point. The fact that someone doesn't adhere to the teachings they should be following, it's not a reflection upon the teachings themselves. It's a reflection on the person that is not following the teachings. Any ideology, any religion, doesn't matter.
No.
So I'll give you an example. If someone is following your righteous path, the one that you claim, yeah, love, mercy, whatever, I don't disagree with the tenets of it, yeah, but they did the opposite. Does that reflect? Does that mean that your path now is false?
Yes. Yeah, because I can't claim it's a perfect truth and that everyone needs to follow it. So the example I typically give is university. If a university claimed it's the perfect university, that it's the one with the best scorers, with the best teachers, with the best everything, and then when the students leave, failing all their tests, the teachers are like, oh no, the school's perfect, it's just the students' fault. Now you got to understand, why are these schools accepting these bad students? Why haven't they tested them to make sure that they qualify for the school before making them a part of the school?
So demand with all due respect, this doesn't make sense what you're saying.
Why not?
Because again, it goes back to that same point that you're taking away the aspect of the individual human being as a being that can make moral decisions.
No.
And one second, let me just finish my sentence.
Yeah, go for it.
So the individual human being is a human being that can make moral decisions. They can make the correct decision and they can make the false decision. Colin, nice to see you. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Okay, nice to see you. So this is one of the problems that we have, in that you can't transfer the errors of an individual back to any system, whatever system. I'm not talking about any specific one that they may claim to adhere to. You can't do that. All you can say is that you're not doing what you said you believe. That person then is either a hypocrite or they're a sinner or however you want to put that. And then the question is, what happens to that individual?
No. The first question should be, why is this school accepting subpar students who aren't 100% sure about what they need to know, what they need to do in their life, and claiming that they're part of the school? That should be question number one. This is why I have the issue with you guys doing, not you personally, but when I see Muslims here doing dawah, because I came here 5 times, 5 weeks, and every time I was here, every conversation I had with a Muslim was literally them trying to convert me. Every single time.
I'm not interested.
No, but the point is this, that they're too busy trying to convert people than making sure that the students already in the school are up to a certain level. This is the issue. That I don't have a problem with you guys being Muslim. I don't have an issue with people being Muslim. It's the fact that when you guys come here, not you again personally, but the Muslims that come here, they're trying to convert people rather than making sure that the students they already have in the religion are meeting a certain standard.
Yeah, so there's an issue with this. So this is again, it goes back to the nature of the human being, the fact that we are fallible, we can make errors, etc. The point here I'm making is that this is what you're describing is this is why I asked you what tyranny was. This is a tyrannical system. If you require perfect,
it's not tyrannical because
I'll explain.
Anyone can opt in or opt out.
I'm going to explain why. Yeah. If you require people to be completely sinless, perfect, adhering to every single rule before they can tell you that this is the truth or this is from God, then this is a tyrannical way of being. Why? Because I've explained to you the nature of the human being is, and if you look around the world, you'll see this. We are fallible creatures. We make errors, we sin.
No, this is an issue I don't like. People love to say we're fallible.
Yeah.
which means that they're aiming here. They're aiming at the same as everyone else.
That's not the aim.
You have to aim for perfection. We'll never hit perfection, but you need to aim for perfection. So if you fall just short of perfection, you're better there than just aiming here and falling there.
I agree with you. So I'm not saying that you aim for fallibility.
No, but you're making an excuse. When you say that humans are fallible,
it's not an excuse.
I'm saying that if they have willingly chosen to submit, which is what Islam means, to submit, if they've willingly chosen to submit, then they should be held to a higher standard than the general public and saying everyone is fallible.
That I agree with. I agree with that. So
it's not tyrannical then?
No.
Because they've opted into it.
No, 1 second. Because you've changed. This is the thing I said tyrannical about was you said it's tyrannical to require perfection before you can preach. That's tyrannical. What you're saying is that if someone who is claiming to adhere to a religion falls short, they should be held to a higher standard. I agree with that. They are two separate things. I don't want you to confuse them.
Sorry, say the first thing again. I'm a bit slow.
So I don't think you're slow at all, but if you require people to be perfect before they can preach whatever they're preaching, that's tyrannical.
No, that's
I'll explain. Let me just finish the sentence because that's the bit you didn't hear. Because human beings, our nature is that we're not perfect. We're going to fall short. Now, the second thing.
Sorry. Just on that, you'd expect someone to be an expert in something that they're going to teach. If they are someone who's still learning themselves, you wouldn't expect them to then go ahead and teach other people because they probably still don't have a full grasp on the subject. So you expect someone to be a certain level of expert. Expert doesn't mean perfect. Expert means that they're not learning like a student is learning. They've gotten to knowledgeable. They've gotten to a point. Thank you. They've gotten to a point where they're now able to teach what they have learned and teach the lessons. So it's not being perfect. It's about being the expert level.
So this is again maybe a disconnect with our position. Anis, sorry, let me just. You're right. Yeah. So this is another aspect. So I don't have this concept. As Muslims, we don't have this concept that you have to know everything or be perfect or even be a subject matter expert before you call people to the truth. And this is what I mean by this. So if I've recognized same fundamental things, that God is one, God requires you to adhere to the message from his messengers, and the messengers is what the message, very basic level of information, then and I've recognized that as the truth, then I should be, the authenticity within me requires that I tell people about this. Because if I believe this is a way to achieve salvation, then I don't just want that for myself, I want it for you as well. Because of love of humanity. I'm not going to be, this is for me, I'm not going to let anyone else know, because that would make me hypocritical or insincere. It's interesting that the Prophet said that convey from me even one verse.
Sorry, what?
Convey from me even one verse.
Okay.
So we have this concept that if you whatever you know of the truth, you should convey it. And our struggle as an individual human being, and what is our struggle? Our struggle is to adhere to submit to what we know to be the truth. And it is a struggle. This is why every day in our salah, 5 times a day is a minimum, 17 times if you count, we pray in our salah, guide us to the straight path. Why, if we're already there, we already believe, we're already Muslims, we're already submitted, why are we still asking for guidance? Why are we still, because I'm explaining to you, because so I think our disconnect is between the fundamental nature of the human being and how we verify the path that we should be on, how we establish that. So we don't regard the human being as being a perfect being. We regard the human being as someone who struggles on a daily basis to submit to their creator. The more you do it, the better it is. And when you fall short, there is a mechanism to rectify that. Now, the point here is that when it comes to speaking to other people about how to be in the world, which righteous path you must take, I don't refer to myself as the source. I don't refer to consensus as the source, and I don't refer to common sense as the source. I refer to something beyond human beings, anchoring my belief systems and my reasons for being in the world.
Yeah, according to your perspective and your subjective.
Absolutely, this is our position, my position.
Yeah, subjective though as well.
I agree with you if you want to say that, but then the same thing then comes. Your righteous path that you believe in, your righteous path. You're scaring me with your mask. Your righteous path that you believe in.
I'll scare him more with my face.
No, you're a handsome young man. So why would I be required to consider what you say to be something that I should gladly follow? What's the reason for that? Or unless you're saying this is for me, and it doesn't matter what you do, I don't mind.
Well, it's like you said, if you have a certain level of truth, you would want to share it, otherwise you're hypocritical. It's the same thing with me. So I offer the choice. I remind people, you got the righteous path or the self-worship path. your choice which one you want to go down. I can't force you to pick one or the other. It has to come from the self. That's why I like the fact that Islam is called Islam, because it means submission. It's not something you're forcing on someone. It's something that someone relinquishes themselves, their own will for God's will.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I like the fact that Islam says this. But then when I see that people who call themselves Muslims don't actually do this, they just think it's went to Hajj, I did the Ramadan, I did this, I'm a Muslim. Where they don't actually understand that it's actually how you live your life every single day, every single moment.
Yeah.
That's where my issue comes, that it turns into a belief-based system rather than a deen.
So your issue, I don't have a problem with that. I agree that if there are people who are just doing the outwardly things, then they're not submitting properly. In every single moment, every single thing we do, we're required to be conscious of God. Eating our food, stepping into our home, stepping out of our home, greeting family members, getting in your car and driving. This is all part of it. So it's ingrained within us, and we have a system within Islam to make sure this is the case. We have a system for that, and we are taught.
But it's not the case. That's the point.
No.
There is a system, but it's not the case. This is why I have to blame Islam at that point.
What's not the case?
You said
that people don't submit to it.
Yeah.
So all you can do at that stage, because there's the message, there's the people who claim to follow the message, and then there's the outcome. If people are not following the message, you can't transfer that back to the message yourself.
No, like I said, this is why I'm happy for you guys to do da'wah to other Muslims to make sure they're on the righteous path. But when you're doing it to collect new converts, you're not actually trying to get quality. You're trying to get quantity. You're trying to get another brother. You're trying to grab another.
Let me try to maybe change the paradigm a little bit. So we have there's a certain level that you have to attain before then, which is sufficient.
That's worrying.
This level that you have is sufficient then to make an impact on what your hereafter will be. Okay, this level. The level isn't perfection. So we're not required to be perfect to enter Jannah. That's not required for us. But there's a certain level that you have to get to. And the minimum is to enter. So say if there's somebody 30 seconds before death who is not a Muslim, 30 seconds before death, is there anything that they can do to affect their hereafter in that moment? There is.
Oh, you're asking me or are you telling me?
No, I'm asking you.
I don't think so.
In our concept that there is. So if this person were to sincerely accept that there is nothing worthy of worship except for Allah, and that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the servant and the messenger of Allah, that in that last dying 30 seconds of their life, it would change the outcome for their hereafter. And what have they done? What have they actually done? Like in terms of actions, apart from speaking these words, nothing. So we have a different. So you and I, we have a different concept of what's required to attain salvation.
That's what I'm saying. You guys have a belief-based system, whereas mine is deen. It's a way of life.
So you're making these two terms.
No, because you just said that someone who's lived their life for themselves, and then last 30 seconds before death, they go, oh, do you know what? Let me just make sure I get into heaven.
So I use the word really specifically and intentionally. Sincerely.
Okay, yeah.
So you can't.
No, well, they are sincere. They do want to get into heaven.
You can't do a one-up on God. You can't trick God. It's not a game.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about.
I agree. You can't trick him.
I'm not talking about people who want to play games. I'm talking about the reality of the matter. So the reality of the matter is the people here who are speaking to. So if I know somebody is a Muslim, they profess this. They say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They express this. And then I see someone here who doesn't know that Allah is one, who doesn't know about the Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him, who is following their desires maybe or living their life according to what the society is. Where is the greater need? I'm not talking about my perspective. What is the greater need for the human being? I have two human beings. Where is the greater need? The greater need is the one who is the most astray from the truth.
No, it'd be the one who's professed, because he's the one who's most susceptible to your message.
I'm talking about this is where we disagree.
No, but you're trying to help him grow, because anyone could say, this is the thing. I asked a Muslim, and I know you're not going to like me saying this, but I did ask a Muslim here, and I said to him, is the Shahada magic words that suddenly transforms everything? Or is it just the beginning of a journey that you then need to start taking, trying to get better and try and move towards God? And he said, no, it's just magic words. As soon as you say it, you're Muslim. You're someone who's
I don't know who you spoke to, I don't believe you. But anyway,
it's online. You can have a look on my page.
So the words themselves are an action based upon belief. So you believe something, you arrive at something sincerely, and the words are the manifestation of your belief in action. Words themselves are action. Now, you have somebody at this level. For me, now, because we have different worldviews, and you can have your world, no problem. In our worldview, this person there's a house that we want people to get into, and then they want to get to the top of this building, which is ultimately where they're trying to. They're in the building now. They've opened the door and they've gotten the keys to this building. They've shed their shahada, now they're in the building. Everything else is the journey that they're going to try and perfect. But they have two things. They have started the journey of submission, and they have a mechanism for rectifying themselves with the Creator. Now that's a different thing, but we can come to that later. The need for this person who's given the shahada, and the need for the person who does not know. The one who does not know is in greater need. I'll give you an example. I'll give an example. I know I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
If there's someone on the battlefield who's got a mortal wound, yeah, and there's someone else, and there's two people who are identical. They're both, one's femoral artery's cut, another one's femoral artery's cut. I give one a tourniquet and I give another one a tourniquet. They're both bleeding. They're going to bleed out. One puts the tourniquet on and he's holding it. He hasn't done it properly, but he's done it well enough that it will prolong his life. The other one doesn't know how to hold the tourniquet. He doesn't even know what a tourniquet is. He's going, why have you given me this piece of string? I'm bleeding here. The one who is in greater need is the one who does not know.
See, the thing is, the example you're given is that one is knows what he's doing, the other one has no idea. The fact is this: I see the Dawah team trying to convert Christians. So it's not the fact that they're not going to be saved, it's the fact that they're not going to be saved the way you think they're going to be saved. So in your example, having two soldiers who are mortally wounded, you've given both a tourniquet. One of them puts it on one way, one of them puts it on another way because he's been taught differently. And you think that because he's not put it on the way you put it on, he's going to die, and that he needs to put it on the way you put it on. That's the issue here. That's why I say that it's not just about converting new people because you think that they're going to go to hell. The fact that Islam, within your book, it says that nothing will be accepted except Islam. And people love to say that that means that you have to be Muslim, otherwise you're going to hell. But that's not what it means. It means that you need to submit. It doesn't mean you need to be a Muslim. It says you need to be, nothing will be accepted except Islam. Nothing will be accepted except submission. Submission to God. So if there's a Christian there who submits his will to God, who doesn't live for his own benefit, who lives for God's benefit, who tries to be a good person, you guys will still say that he is going to be doomed unless he converts.
Why is that the case?
Huh?
Why is that the case?
Why is what the case?
Why is that? If I accept your analogy, why is that the case?
So I don't get what you mean.
Why would it be that I go to the Christian because I would categorize the one who does not know with the Christian who does not know, with the Jew who does not know, with the Hindu or the Sikh who does not know.
Oh, because you believe that yours is the true religion and everyone else is fake.
Because we aren't perennialists. I know that
what does that mean?
So
you're using big words against me, man.
So Sikhs, for example, they believe, one of their beliefs is that all paths lead to God. There's no specific path. All paths lead to God. Muslims, we don't hold this view. Christians don't hold this view. Jews don't hold this view. So and this is why Christians are speaking to Muslims, this is why Muslims are speaking to Christians, because we ultimately are trying to establish for the other person, and they're trying to do it for us. I'm not saying that they're insincere. They're trying to establish a method for us to accept that what they have is the truth, so they will give us a better outcome in the hereafter. Gentleman Colin here I was speaking to earlier, spoken to him many times. I don't doubt his sincerity. The conversations we have are not about sincerity. They're about how do we establish which is the correct path.
Yeah. So
now that's why when I was discussing with you, I wasn't interested. I don't doubt you're sincere. That's not my. I don't care. You seem like a nice gentleman. I'm sure you're very sincere in everything that you do.
Even with a mask.
Even with a mask. The question comes down to how do we establish what you're saying is something that should be adhered to, or vice versa?
Okay, so would you agree that someone who's spent their entire life as a monk and submits their will to God and lives a righteous life, is that someone who will go to heaven or hell?
So what do you mean by righteous life?
For other people, not for themselves, not for their own selfish desires, not for their own flesh, but for the fact that they're trying to help society and everyone around them grow.
All right. So I'll be as honest as I can with you, okay? I'm going to try and, because this is quite a nuanced question. So it depends on the circumstances of that individual. I'll tell you what I mean. We believe in something called the fitra. You know what the fitra is? You've heard of this?
No.
It means natural predisposition.
Okay.
So we believe that the soul has had an experience pre-embodiment where they have witnessed Allah and they've testified to Allah that He is our Lord. Okay. And the remnants of this are within us, and they're like a compass that points us in the right direction. So if you look at a lot of studies on in young children, there's a famous Justin Barrett study, everyone mentions it, I'm sure you come across it, where they took pre-socialized children from mainly atheistic societies. They all believe in a higher agency, some sort of higher power. Yeah. So this is an inherent, innate belief within human beings. Now we as Muslims, we understand this. This is not news for us. Why? Because we believe in this concept that the soul has already been had experience with the Creator prior. Now, one of the things that comes from that is you knowing basic things. This mic is not God. The tree is not God. The sun is not God. The moon, that man is not God. These are inherently within you. Do you understand? Now, this can be corrupted and changed by the society. The society can change this, manipulate it, cloud it, and so people start to, maybe if they're told over and over again that this man is God, that they may come to those beliefs. Now, if the person themselves has not had any access to the message by someone coming to them to tell them, sorry, brother, you were in the cameras.
Sorry.
If the person... Alice, just make sure the man's camera...
No, it should be fine.
Yeah, cheers, thank you. So if the person has not had access to the truth, then they are judged by Allah according to how He will judge them. If someone, let's take an extreme example of the person on a desert island who never sees anybody, what would happen to them? They are given a specific individual assessment from themselves. So we don't believe in blanket assessments or anyone. So for Muslims, what we can't do is for any individual say whether or not they are saved or helped. We're not in that position.
No, I agree.
As a group,
only God can decide.
Absolutely, only God can decide. But as a group, we can say that if somebody were to hold the beliefs that there was a man who was God who died, and that was the only way for your sins to be. This is something that's not part of the religion, and this is leading astray. And if you held this belief system, especially if you receive the message of Islam, then you're not going to have a good outcome in the hereafter. Do you understand? So I'm not answering your question. I'm just giving you the nuances.
No. You're saying God decides and we can't decide. But then the Quran says that
on an individual basis,
yes.
But ultimately on an archetypal basis, there are, if you don't believe that God is one and you don't worship anything that's in the creation.
Yeah, but this is where my other issue is. I've got a few issues with Islam, and this is one of the other ones that you just ended up coming into. Is the fact that for you guys it's okay to kill someone who's a kafir.
No, it's not.
It's not okay for you to kill a kafir?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know, because just say that to the camera. Say you can't kill kafir.
Yeah, you can't kill kafir.
Perfect. All right, cool. Because once again, another Muslim has told me that you can kill kafirs because they're not...
So this is why you need to go to the source, isn't it?
Well, I'm trying to talk to the people who represent it.
So let me say, look, there is no... Islam, there's no vigilantism. Yeah?
There's no what?
Vigilantism.
Okay.
So I cannot take the law of anything into my own hands. Do you understand? So if whatever that situation might be, I can't. Sorry, there's a lot of shouting going on.
What's that?
I can't take anything into my own hands. So the idea that somebody can arbitrarily go up to somebody you're not a believer and kill them, it's just not
No, but isn't that what happens at the end times, according to you guys? At the end times, you guys join up with the Christians to kill the unbelievers.
So now what you're doing is it's interesting.
No, because that's what I was told, so I'm just trying to clarify.
So now what you're doing, we're not intentionally. Intentionally.
It's a QR code.
For your YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's just because it's a long one, and it's Demands Golden Dragon, so
okay.
instead of people typing it in, it's just like,
that's good.
Flash them.
So the point here is that you're taking a war situation at the end times, a war situation at the end of time, and you're taking that and applying it to current standards.
Yeah, but we're in the end times now.
You can make the claim. But what I'm saying to you is a conflation. It's not the reality.
No, because if it's allowed in the end times, it must be allowed before the end times too.
That's again illogical. That doesn't follow.
So you're not allowed to kill them before the end times, but after, during the end times, it's okay.
You're conflating things.
I'm trying to understand.
I'm explaining to you. So these general statements that you're making, that you can kill kafir like this is just unfortunately a narrative about Muslims that people like to paint. That is not based on reality. It's not based on reality. So for example, when if you just look at when the Muslims went into Jerusalem under Umar ibn al-Khattab, and when the Christians went into Jerusalem, what was the difference in terms of? Do you know anything about the history of that?
I think you guys were ruling at a certain point. I think this was
when they went in, when they actually entered the city.
Oh, okay. You guys didn't kill women and children, and they did.
They killed everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. Including women and children.
Everyone.
Yeah.
And for Muslims, this wasn't the case. In fact, they were. It's completely different. It's worth interesting to watch and look and listen to. Even when the Muslims eventually freed Mecca from the rule of the pagans, that if you look at that, the Muslims were overwhelming majority under the Prophet Muhammad's point. And when they went in, everyone essentially was freed. Whoever Prophet went into that place, whoever's in so and so's home is free. Whoever goes to this place is free. So all of the people were essentially. It was like a bloodless overtaking. You understand? Now, if Muslims were like, "Oh, he's a non-believer, kill him," that's essentially a parody of.
No, because for you guys, it's the fact that they can only be saved if they become Muslim, and if they refuse to convert, then they've chosen to go to the hellfire, and then it's obviously you guys doing them a favor or something. That's the way the guy explained it to me.
How can you be said someone who's going to go to the hellfire? How can killing them do them a favor?
Because
in fact, keeping them alive and giving them the message for as long as you can is going to.
No, I agree. I agree. But it's the way that guy explained it to me.
I don't know who that guy was. I disagree with him.
Yeah.
But the man, interesting talking to you. Anything else you wanted to say? Or?
So many things because we ended up skipping a few things. But I think the best thing is.
If you want to summarize, you can.
My best summary is that there's 3 types of Muslims. There's the good Muslim, the fake Muslim, and then the non-Muslim. So there's the good person who tries to submit to God, may make mistakes, but they're not willful mistakes. He truly tries to put God first, and then obviously sometimes he may make a mistake. There's the fake Muslim. That's the Muslim that claims to be Muslim, but only lives for himself and through rituals and through beliefs. And then there's a non-Muslim, which is someone who does not submit their will to God. And that is across all religions, because I don't see a difference in religions. I see that if you're Christian and you submit your will to God, then God will recognize that as submission. And the fact that you didn't just copy this particular religion, he's not going to go, you go to hell. He's going to give you a chance.
I appreciate that. So, from my perspective, if you're going to make the claim that there is a way to be in the world that will benefit you, benefit the society, and benefit your hereafter, you have to bring evidence for that claim. And it's got to be grounded in something that's not common sense, that's not democracy, that's not personal subjective experience. You've got to ground it in something that's outside of human beings. And then you have to have some sort of evidence for that. Well, we're just summarizing.
Yeah, I know.
And for Muslims, the concept is that God is one. Once you've established for yourself that this message is from the Creator, and you submit to Islam, you do your best to adhere to that message. And if you fall short, we have a mechanism. I mentioned the mechanism without mentioning what it was, which is you repent and you rectify yourself to bring yourself back to the path. The other part of it is, if you believe you're on the truth and you believe that my way of being in the world is going to benefit me now and in the hereafter, out of love for humanity, you invite people to that. I do not require to be perfect myself to start on that journey of calling people. Because if that was the case, no one would ever do it, because none of us are perfect.
No, I understand, but I think the issue, sorry, I know we were summarizing, but I'm just going to make, there's a couple more points.
No worries.
One of the issues I have, again, is the carrot or the stick. If it's a carrot, it's like, oh, do this and you get to heaven. If it's a stick, it's do this or you're going to go to hell. When you have these kind of factors at play, one's decisions are going to be selfish. You're going to be doing good because you want to get to heaven, or you're going to be doing good to avoid hell. My thing is, forget about heaven and hell. Just submit your will to God. God has sent down, this is why another reason that Muslims and Christians both don't like me, is that I say all books came from God.
I knew you were a perennialist.
Sorry?
I knew you were a perennialist. I knew that you were a perennialist. That's someone who believes that all paths lead to God. Yeah.
Well, it's like, we'll get onto that another day.
Another time. We'll speak again, I'm sure.
But essentially, all the books came in 2 parts. The first part is the truth, and all of the books have the same truth, which is worship one God. Don't put any man above God, or anything above God, any kind of car or idol or whatever, and to be a righteous person. That truth is clear in all of the religions. Where the religions differ is in the prescription of the time. So maybe one people had a certain prescription, maybe at a different time, but different people had a different prescription. And this is where most of the arguments happen. And if you wanted objective truth, which you wanted for my claim, is literally just the truth that's evident in all religions. Worship one God, don't worship anyone else, and be a righteous person.
Okay, so it's in summary for that, just to summarize that. So we believe that God sent to every single nation a messenger. The Quran says so. We sent to every single nation a messenger. And why? Because God is just, and He does not punish a people until He sends a message. Because God says in the Quran that we do not punish a people until we send them a messenger. Now, the message has always been the same. Worship one God alone without partners. The question really is that when you examine the reality of people's claims to be doing that, is it true? And we can only know.
Is it for us to judge that?
There's a way of arriving at it. So if you want to follow something, you're not going to follow blindly. You're going to verify the veracity of that particular thing. Am I going to follow this? And will it take me to? Or am I just blindly following this because I was born a Muslim or I was born a Sikh or I was born a because that's the wrong position to be in.
Yeah, 100%.
And what you need to do is at some stage in your life, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, you get to that stage where you're thinking independently and much more critically. You've got to arrive for yourself at the conclusion of what is reality, what is the truth. That process involves verifying the message and the messengers, and is it from, can I say that this message...
Yeah, but then it would always be subjective. This is why
No.
I don't like using that whole...
Yeah, I understand.
Because each religion is going to say, no, our message is true, our message is true, and it's like...
It's about verifying. So it doesn't mean that you accept the claim, you verify it. The other way is...
The only way you can verify it fully is to say, God, which one did you write?
The other way is from yourself. It comes from yourself. Yeah? The man, lovely speaking to you.
You too, man.
I wish you all the best. Yeah?
Appreciate your time again.
I hope you can change the mask at some point.
I'll take it off now.
No worries, take it.
Thank you so much.